Yeah.
So Rich Paul, who is LeBron James' manager,
Yes.
he is now getting into the gaming world. So
Yes.
he is out here literally recruiting people that are really dope at gaming.
Exactly.
And we're talking video games.
Very much so.
And he is recruiting them. So as a gamer, somebody like a Rich Paul, because that's a common name that we
Yep.
know, he will recruit somebody, and literally it's like signing a sporting contract.
Exactly.
Except for they don't go out on the court. They don't go out on the field. They are playing these
In a
games
virtual court.
in a virtual
Within the
court.
metaverse.
Within the metaverse. And they are getting paid
Thousands. Typically, a gamer and a popular gamer would get paid around about, it can be anywhere from 11 to approximately like $20,000 a month.
Welcome to The Dash. You know, The Dash is that tiny line between your life start date and end date. It's your story, the chapters in your book, your journey. Get ready for real conversations with real people telling real stories about the realities of failure, setbacks, and success. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. We're rolling. Let's go. The Dash in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so today's episode is very different, but it's very important.
Yeah.
If you are a mother of a child who plays video games, if you are an adult that enjoys video games, this one is for you. So that's pretty much everybody, right?
Yeah.
I have with me today the owner, creator, and co-founder of Esposure,
Yes.
Mr. Danny Martin. Danny, first of all, you know how impressed I am by you, but after you explain exactly what you have created,
Yeah.
I believe that everybody else watching is going to be in awe. So tell everybody what Esposure is.
Yes, for sure. So first off, just thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to share, esports and gaming. 2 years ago, the world didn't even recognize from a public view outside of you were in the community just gaming and, your parent was just like, what are you doing? And I don't really get off of it, right? So just sitting here and being able to speak on it and having a platform is very critical because I speak for, that individual that's gaming that may not have a voice, but we're going to get there. That individual is going to have a voice. So I'm incredibly appreciative for this opportunity. Esposure. So Esposure is an ed tech company. Think of a software company like Google or Facebook. We've created a proprietary system that's a learning management system, but we call it a learning experiential platform. Why is due to the fact that we incorporate esports education from management, marketing, technology, competition, and production, and we incorporate that content into our technology platform. But we also add functionality into that platform that allows the actual students to experience what they would do outside of in the universe, outside of school, building their own websites. We have a functionality in the platform that allows students to do that, to posting on social media. We have a mimic platform on the platform, a mimic functionality on the platform that allows the students to do that. So we're basically giving the students opportunities to learn about esports and gaming, but most importantly, letting them apply the learning concepts that they've been able to be introduced to, so therefore they can enhance their portfolio, so therefore they can actively get a job inside of this space.
Okay, stop. Look, I'm like, boy, look. This is technical, okay,
Yeah.
but it's really not that technical.
Yeah.
Because I want to break it down.
I love it.
Okay, let's just start from the top.
Yeah.
You have a state-of-the-art facility,
Yes.
gaming facility,
Yes.
where people can come in. They hold professional gaming tournaments at
Very
your
much so.
facility. I'm talking, this is a multi-million-dollar facility.
Yes.
It is state-of-the-art.
Yeah.
And people can also stream these gaming competitions
Very much so.
online.
Yes.
And then you bring in students to learn the educational side to all of this and how this
Yes.
can become a career. So I want to touch on that really fast.
Yes. I love it. I think.
There is a lot of money in gaming.
Yes.
I'm talking millions.
Hundreds of millions. So the gaming industry right now is approximately around about $320 billion industry.
Okay, hold up. I chose the wrong career. Hold on. So you're telling me, for everybody that is listening that has a child, that they tell them to get off the game, the game is not going to turn into anything. Those, I guess, really people that have been like, this is just a hobby.
Yes.
People are literally making like a living.
A living. Yes. Yes, for sure.
Playing video games.
Very much so. And creating content. Some of the world's largest gaming companies, they are very conscious of content creators right now, because those are the content creators that can actually help them sell the games, right? And so esports is 1% of the gaming industry at approximately about a $3 billion valuation right now. And when you hear esports, it's competitive gaming. And actively, when you hear teams like FaZe Clan, and I'm not sure if y'all know, but during the Super Bowl, when Snoop Dogg was actually performing, he had a FaZe Clan necklace on it. That's him supporting FaZe Clan, that is now valued at $1 billion organization. That's essentially just like a Dallas Mavericks or that of a Dallas Cowboys. And it's made up of actual competitive gamers that create content that get paid millions of dollars for what they do, like FaZe Swag. So ultimately, from this perspective, and Rich Paul just actually signed FaZe Swag, that's a part of the roster of FaZe Clan, which ultimately lets you know that Rich is actually going into the gaming industry to be able to find talent, just like he represents LeBron James and such like that.
Okay, hold on, Danny, because you speak this language, because it's
a lot.
It is okay.
Yeah.
So Rich Paul, who is LeBron James' manager,
yes,
he is now getting into the gaming world. So
yes,
he is out here literally recruiting people that are really dope at gaming.
Exactly.
And we're talking video games.
Very much so.
And he is recruiting them. So as a gamer, somebody like a Rich Paul, because that's a common name that we know, he will recruit somebody, and literally it's like signing a sporting contract.
Exactly.
Except for they don't go out on the court. They don't go out on the field. They are playing these games.
In a virtual court.
In a virtual
within
court.
the metaverse.
Within the metaverse. And they are getting paid
thousands. Typically, a gamer and a popular gamer would get paid around about, it can be anywhere from 11 to approximately like $20,000 a month. You hear things like,
you can't go fast, Danny.
Yeah.
I cannot believe this. A gamer is making $11,000 to $20,000 a month if they're really great at what they do.
They're really good at what they do. Yeah.
Mamas, daddies, if I have not told you anything else, stop making your baby get out that game. I mean, make sure that they are doing their studies.
Yeah.
But your child can literally be making anywhere from $11,000 to $20,000 a month on gaming.
Yeah.
And this is important for our community
Very
to
much
know,
so.
because we are very big on get off the game because it's not a career, but the world is changing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the most important things to identify is that, just like traditional sports, that LeBron James that's coming out of high school that's going to the pro, that's a very small percentage. But the cool thing about this is that in order to be a good gamer, you have to get your name out there. Once you get to a certain plateau, all gamers are good. But what differentiates you from the next gamer is your content. And in order to create content, you have to, one, know how to, get your personality out there. You have to, two, know how to leverage the equipment to get your personality out there, which ultimately allows you to start streaming. And once you start streaming, you start to understand the components of graphic designing and editing and animations. And that helps you build your actual stream. And those skill sets that you're doing, in the instance that you're not a professional gamer, those skill sets are very applicable to any industry. So therefore, the actual gaming industry that is looking for those talents, they're actively looking for those students that are actively doing what they do passionately to help propel their organizations within the industry as it's growing. So if you shoot for the moon, you still can land on the stars in this industry, because these companies are looking for the talented individuals to keep their companies going.
Okay, let's keep it real. In this multi-billion-dollar industry that we're calling gaming right now, what is the ratio of Black to other ethnicities that are participating? And this is why we have to get the word out about it.
So it's funny, right? The market is made around about 76% of individuals of our color that's consuming the games. But when it comes down to working in the industry, we're less meaning playing the games, purchasing, just like traditional, like what our numbers are. But when it comes down to working in the industry or having a job, it's less than 5%.
That is crazy, Danny.
Yeah. That is why we're here. We're here to shine light on your creativity. What you're doing on a daily basis are very critical to that of getting a job in this space. It's just that we don't know that that's available enough to go put ourselves in front of those companies to say, hire me.
Denny, and this is, I tell you this all the time, what you have done is absolutely outstanding and is absolutely rare. I'm sitting right here in front of a black man that has created a multi-million-dollar facility.
Yeah.
That not only hosts gaming competitions to some of the most amazing, outstanding, the celebrities of the gaming world, but you are also educating the community.
Yes, for sure.
For those of you that do not know, Danny has literally built this facility, I'm going to say in the hood.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you could have taken this on another side of town, but this is in a predominantly Black and Hispanic community, made up of people of color.
Exactly.
And you decided to drop it right here, right down in the center, because you wanted to make sure that
we get the opportunity while this actual industry is on the same playing field. I think one of the coolest things is as we have a background in software development and we've created this awesome technological platform, once you create a platform, you just can't expect people just to come to the platform.
Sure.
So we end up having to create the facility to invite individuals to see, touch, and feel esports and gaming in a high octane environment, right? Get them excited, understand the career pathways, and also bring in the educators, the schools that are around our areas. I grew up in this area. I graduated from Lancaster ISD. I went to schools in DeSoto's. So from my perspective, it's a great opportunity to introduce our communities to this industry at the same time that everyone else is being introduced to the actual industry just as much. So therefore, we do not get pushed behind, and ultimately our creativity can actually catapult this industry because this industry is relatively software based. Everything that we do, from utilizing Adobe Premiere to Microsoft Planner to Blackmagic equipment to utilizing cameras and content, this is what makes up the actual industry because it's ultimately it's multimedia driven. So in this instance, these organizations are multimedia companies, whether it's like Netflix or Google. Like, these companies are looking for artistic individuals, and where would you find the most artistic individuals?
There you go. So here's the thing. If this all sounds like foreign language to people that are listening and watching, that is why we're doing this.
Yes.
This does not have to be a foreign language. No. And we cannot be what we cannot see. Yeah. If we don't know about it, we cannot build a career in it. Why are we allowing everybody else to make all of these billions of dollars that are out there, as opposed to educating ourselves and educating our community, which is exactly what you're doing, to say this is readily available to you. Something that you do on a daily basis can literally become a career if you become excellent in it, which is amazing. Danny, you brought up where you grew up, and you said that basically the schools that you named, predominantly Black schools. This is the Dash podcast. Okay. And what we do here, the Dash is that little bitty line between your birth date and your end date, you know. And that's the story, the whys, your journey.
For sure.
So I want to back up a little bit, just to figure out why. Yeah. How did we get to this point? What made you decide this is something that you wanted to do? Did you grow up always being a gamer?
Well, I grew up always being an entrepreneur. In high school, while playing basketball and running track, after school, I would actively cut yards and sell barbecue out of venues, and I was doing it with my uncles due to the fact that that's what they did. Some of them went to prison, so that's all they could do, right? But they taught me the word entrepreneur, right? So I was always fixated on running a company and managing a team, and I seen them, so it was always like, I want to do this, right? Yeah. And so going to college, I automatically knew that I really wanted to go for business with a minor in entrepreneurship. And while I was in college, there was an aha moment for me as a track athlete as well at University of Texas at San Antonio. It was when I was with my teammates at lunch, and he actively said my PC at this time, his Xbox was inactive. And I told myself, the light bulb moment was just like, if I can fix this actual console, I can only imagine how many other individuals on campus where their consoles are broke or their PCs are broke just as much.
Wait, so the aha moment was your friend's Xbox was broken?
Yep.
Had you ever fixed an Xbox before?
Nope.
Okay, wait, Danny. Hold on. You know, this is not making sense.
Oh, I love it.
But let me tell you something. I always say,
Yeah.
if it makes sense, it don't make faith.
Man.
Let me tell you. And when you are doing something that literally is out of your realm, you know it's nobody but God, right?
I know, right.
So hold up. So you decide
Yes.
never open up an Xbox before in your life.
Nope.
That you are going to try to open up an Xbox.
I literally thought it, and I asked him, I said, Carvey, if I take your Xbox and fix it, and if I break, like if I can't fix it, I'll just buy you another one. And he said, cool, you know, so he gave me. And what I did was I went to Google and I researched that of a console or a PC repair shop. And it happened to be one like 40 minutes off of campus. And so I actually took the console there and I paid the individual to fix it out of my capital. And I just sat there and watched him. Once I watched him, I said, okay, he can do it. So I just went back to campus and actually created a flyer and said, hey, I can fix your consoles. And I went to dorm to dorm to dorm room to dorm room to dorm room and asked individuals, hey, is your console broke? If it is, I can fix it. And here's my guarantee that if I can't fix it, then I'll buy you a new one. And I would just go on campus. I have like a duffel bag of like 10, 15 PCs or Xboxes, and I'll take them back to him and I'll just be there all day watching him fix it to the point to where I brung him hundreds of consoles. And I asked him, say, hey, I know every component that you've done. Can I actually take this in my dorm room on campus with the equipment that you use and start my own business? And he was just like, man, I can't stop you. Your passion is so heavy at this point that I would feel bad if I told you couldn't do that. So he let me do it. And I just took all the equipment, put it in my dorm room, and kept going from dorm to dorm room and started fixing consoles. I was literally fixing consoles in like 30 minutes at around about $60 to $100 every 30 minutes. So that was my business on campus, was fixing consoles.
Danny, I'm about to hit you with this microphone. I mean, when I tell you this is an unbelievable hustle.
Yeah.
All you did was watch
Yeah.
and learn and
Yep.
absorb the information,
Yep.
and you turned it into your hustle
Yep.
that has now turned into a multi-million-dollar company.
Oh yeah, for sure. When someone gives me their console, I'm able to see what game they play, how good they are at the game based off the accolades of that game, how they look when they play that particular game, and I would take that data and put it into a spreadsheet, and I would see every individual that gave me a console, if they had Madden inside of it or FIFA or Street Fighter, and then I would take that data and I will host a tournament with it. So I will go back on campus and there's campuses around and I will say, hey, I'm gonna do a Madden tournament. I had 100 people that had Madden in a console.
And you knew that because of the data that you collected when you were fixing their console.
Exactly.
You wrote it down and you said, well, 100 out of the 200 I fixed have
Yep.
Madden.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make financial sense for me to host a tournament. And how much are you charging people for the tournament?
$5 to $50. Yeah.
Can I tell you, I am mad that God did not give me your brain. This is this is like, when I tell you this is a hustle.
Yeah.
But I don't want to use the word hustle. I'm so sorry, because I don't want to negate how brilliant this is. This is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And this is the way that I think that our kids need to start thinking, is like being willing to, again, oh my God, Danny, I tell you, I'm always impressed by you whenever I talk to you, because this is the part of the story that I didn't know.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just, you know, it's no different than students that are on campus and they're doing party promoting, right? They are sending out flyers to get individuals to come to parties and they making money off of parties. My party promotion was just gaming tournaments.
So you started realizing, okay, this gaming thing is really taking off. I'm making money in college. So were you going to just do tournaments as you?
Yeah, I started recognizing that as I done tournaments, I couldn't do tournaments by myself. I needed a marketing team, more individuals to help me run brackets, to just more, PR that's out there to get more people to know about the tournaments. And I started recognizing that it was very difficult to find individuals that can actively help. So I had to teach people how to help me run tournaments. And then individuals will be like, man, can you, since I'm teaching them, they will go run tournaments. Why? Because a gamer, if you enter in a tournament, if you enter in the same tournament and your skill sets is just right underneath the individual that is not as good. I remember competing in high school in track. We were good in Lancaster ISD, at Lancaster ISD, but I would always get like third place because our top two individuals were like the best in the state. but I will never beat them. So I would like to go to tournaments or track meets that I can win, you know, so like at least I can say I got first place.
Yes.
In tournament organizing, you want to have more tournament organizers out there so you can give more individuals chances to win so they can build up their portfolios, right? And so I actively needed to teach individuals how to host tournaments to provide more opportunities for the gamers. And that's another light bulb moment with me. I was just like, well, I can't teach everybody, but if I can create a technological platform, I can then actively scale much faster. And then at that point, my entrepreneurship teacher said, hey, I know someone that's actively raising money for a company in Silicon Valley. And I've talked to him about you. And literally, you're the only person in my class that has a business that everybody knows about. And so if you can graduate early, you'll be able to move to San Francisco to work for under him and shadow him as a CEO because that's your entrepreneurship. And so ultimately I did that. I graduated early and I moved to actual Silicon Valley and worked with some of the best engineers and CEOs in the tech industry. And actively, that's how I learned. I said again and learned how to build a tech company for the perspective of I want to build a platform to allow tournament organizers to host their own tournaments in their homes or in their ballrooms or wherever they want to host it.
Recurring theme.
Yeah.
You keep learning.
I keep learning. Learning is an everyday process.
Still learning.
Still learning. I'm learning right now.
Danny, this is an like, y'all mark my word. When I say this, there is going to be a story on this man's life. Please put this podcast scene in there so I can just play myself in the movie. Okay. No, I'm just joking.
For sure. For sure.
Oh, so, okay. What was it about you that made your professor want to connect you? Because that makes a difference as well. Sometimes you can have all the knowledge, you can have all the skills, you're around campus doing these amazing things, but there was something that made him want to bet on you. What was it? I
think it's resilience and the resilience of where we come from. And my professor, Anita Leffel, she's seen that I was that individual. My brother who went to Cedar Hill, he actually was getting in so much trouble where my mom was like, hey, he's getting in trouble in school. Can he just live in your dorm room with you? Like, can he go all the way? And I was just like, man, you just took my whole college experience away by my brother, my little, ninth grade brother is here. But I would take him to my college classes with Anita Leffel, and I was talking to her about like I'm getting these grades. My grades are not like I'm not getting B's or A's. I'm barely making it because I'm working, trying to keep my scholarship for track. Trying to take care of my brother, and I was still doing it. And her perspective is like, I've never seen this. You're so resilient based off of what you have to go through. And I looked at that as like a lot of us from this area have to go through a lot. So you don't really think about it until somebody else says it and somebody else sees it and they're like, whoa, that's unheard of. And I was watching a podcast recently where individuals like, I think it was like No Jumper or something like that. And he was just like, I was at the doctor office and the individual was like, I was saying that somebody got shot and the doctor was like, whoa, like that's when you hear someone getting shot all the time, it's nothing. You kind of like numb to it because you hear it in your environment so much. For me, I'm in the environment so much and I see individuals all the time that are going through craziest things and it's just normal. So you have that the empathy there because it's normal. But when someone else sees it doesn't have to go through, they're like blown away because and I think that resilience really allowed her to be like, this guy is going to go somewhere. So I really want to put him in a position to where he can succeed.
Oh man, that's a really, really amazing. Oh boy. I mean, like Danny, I just continue to be impressed by you. So here we name drop.
Yep.
So let's talk about some of the celebrities, the well-known gamers that have come through Esposure. Again, when did you create Esposure? This new facility.
Yeah, so we are in our 2-year anniversary right now for Esposure. Esposure came about during COVID. So before COVID, we were Geek Leads, and Geek Leads was a platform. I remember when I left San Francisco to come back to Dallas, I converted a 2,000 square foot loft similar to this. And that was a space where I built the technology platform, but if I'm trying to allow people to host their own tournaments, I needed an actual venue where they can actually test the actual data and host their tournament, so I can collect the data and enhance the actual website. And at that point, I will allow individuals to travel in and compete. And ultimately, I started recognizing that when we bring individuals to compete, these are some of the best gamers. And it was just when NBA 2K16 released, and 2K16 was prolific because it was the first time a sports title was 5v5. And so what we did was we actively allowed gamers to come into the facility, and there'll be a point guard, center, power forward, shooting guard, small forward, competing with that same rim. And in our community, playing 5v5 is like, whoa, like, so I was the first individual that actively allowed people coming into a facility and compete in 5v5. And it was my home. I converted that into, it was my home. My closet was, my bedroom was in the closet, and, on the front floor, it was like the 10 PCs, and, I had a loft, so it was like a spectator area. So I converted the whole space into it. And at that point, I started to recognize like gamers were coming in and they were getting really, really good.
In your house.
In my house. Yeah, in my house. And 2 years after doing that, the NBA announced a partnership with the NBA 2K developers, Take-Two Interactive, to do an NBA 2K league, right? And that NBA 2K league for the first year was a $1.2 million prize purse. And when I seen that, I was just like, wow, like this is an opportunity to allow those great 2K players to actually get drafted into the NBA 2K league.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these people, again, I'm trying to make sure that everybody understands, because when you're not gamers, yeah. So you're literally playing 5-on-5 virtually.
Yes.
Via the video game. There was a purse. Whoever won this tournament was going to take home, like these individuals, these people, these human beings were going to take home a $1.2 million purse. That was going to be split amongst the team.
That won. And it was backed by the NBA. So when you think of the NBA, you think of the WNBA, you think of the G League, and you think of the NBA 2K League as their fourth entity. And
that is literally how serious the NBA now takes gaming.
Yes.
That they invest millions of dollars into this gaming world, because now they see this as a billion-dollar industry.
Exactly. So you have around about 23 teams that represent the NBA 2K League. Mark Cuban has Mavs Gaming, which he has a full facility in Deep Ellum. And you have other teams across the country that compete. They're in the fifth season right now, and the prize purse right now is about $2.5 million. So ultimately what happens is these gamers, they compete. They typically get around about a $60,000 salary for 6 months, and then actively they get free housing, they travel, and they compete. So for our perspective, our goal was to actually help them get drafted. So right now we have over 9 gamers that have gotten drafted into the NBA 2K League that are actively competing to this day. And so from our perspective, when we talked about Rich Paul, I'm kind of like a Rich Paul, right? Like an unknown Rich Paul.
You're brokering the deals.
Yes, and I'm helping them going pro. We've had 4 individuals in this area long go pro, and that's #1 draft picks in this area. And
so on average, of course, everybody's different, but on average, you said they're getting $60,000 for 6 months.
For 6 months, yep.
Free housing.
Free housing. They move to wherever they get drafted. They move to their city, and they get free housing, rental cars. They compete, they salary, and if they win the prize purse or the tournaments, that's a good amount of bonus on their actual.
Yeah, I think, because they're spending millions of dollars.
Yeah, for sure.
OMG. This is like.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very important for our community.
Very important.
Because we are, look, we'll push our kids to get on the field, but sometimes they may be just as good at gaming.
Very much so.
Again, we perish for a lack of knowledge. We don't encourage it because we don't
know.
It just seems like foo-foo.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to go back to the name dropping.
Okay.
Tell me some of the celebrities that have actually been, and you can name some of the gaming ones, even though I may not know them. But people that game will actually know. So let's talk about some of the people that have been in your facility.
So we just actively did an event with Kyrie Irving.
Wait, Danny, you ain't called me and let me know Kyrie was here. Now look, I mean, okay.
Yeah, he loves NBA 2K. Ultimately, when it comes down to, we've worked with T-Pain. We worked with Stacey Abrams' crew in regards to, we did an event with Stacey Abrams' crew where she really was trying to run for, or she was running for Georgia about a year or so ago. And she asked us to be able to get involved in the gaming community because she knew that's where the voters were, right? So what we did was our team actually, created a full experience around our gaming community where we gave giveaways like Jordans and things like that. And we brought in like Karen Civil and other individuals to be able to talk about the benefits of politics. And we had around about 660,000 individuals tune into our events. And that's one of the biggest ways that I see that, Georgia was able to go blue at that point. Not saying that we were the only, but 660,000 young individuals actively tuned in about politics is something unheard of. And Stacey had that.
And gaming, that was a brilliant idea to tap into the gaming industry.
Exactly.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, so we've worked with several other individuals when it comes down to Tfue, which is a very popular gamer. We work with a lot of professional gamers. Dave Fry, who's out of Waxahachie, he's won the NBA 2K League Championship back-to-back 2 times in a row. And we've actively been able to work with, a considerable amount of individuals within the actual space. Dimes, who you got a chance to actually interview when he first got to Dallas for the NBA 2K League. He's an incredibly popular gamer right now. And then ultimately, when it comes down to it, we always really want to be able to work with artists and, rappers and intertwining music and culture into gaming and esports. When you think about like individuals like Big Tuck, where he gets to see our actual arena and he's like, I want to host a gaming tournament, I
said the same thing when I was there. I don't even know anything about gaming. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool to be able to see. Ezekiel Elliott is a really cool individual to work with. It's just so many, it's just like any individuals. If you even see like Von Miller right now streams games, like in his pastime, he's gaming. We get celebrities that actively call us to ask us, can we build an actual gaming setup? I remember during COVID, Bebe was just like, I'm at home, he's like, Danny, could you build a gaming setup? And we did. We built a streaming gaming setup in his home during COVID. And you find a lot of celebrities actively, want to game and stream and create content in their pastime. So we work with a lot of celebrities.
And then really quick, you guys are duplicating what you've done in Dallas and taking it to Chicago. You've been in talks with Lori Lightfoot.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's pretty cool. And what's cool about this is that Lori Lightfoot is it's like she knows in Chicago right now that in order to drive the economy in Chicago, people have to feel safe, right? And if you want these big companies coming into the actual Chicago, and all they're hearing is like, hijackings and crime and shootings and death. And Lori is able to identify what's the demographic of the individuals doing the crime. And sadly, it's us, it's minorities. It's a huge amount of minorities. And for her, she's like, well, before anything, I want to tackle that problem. And when she's come down here to understand how gaming can actively give our individuals opportunities, that gives us an opportunity to really say, here's what we're doing for our community. And we're in a majority African-American, brown skinned individuals in this area. And this is what we're doing in regards to making our company suitable with the institutions in our area to provide information to the educators. So therefore they can actually teach and engage with the students to give them more opportunities. And when you have more opportunities, you're going to be less likely to do bad things. Sure. Right. So for Lori understanding of that component to want to bring that Chicago and want to incorporate us to do that, that's game changing. And you have to be very intentional to know, like, I need to go figure out that problem. Is that going to solve everything? We don't know. Maybe not. I will hope so. But just to kind of think that I need to go and add more value to our young African-American individuals who may be derailed by gangs or other kind of stuff, to really help the city be that much more safe so we can bring in those big companies and they can feel safe with their families traveling and moving to Chicago.
And bringing in the Esposure gives them something to do.
Yes.
Which is amazing. And I just think just knowing that Esposure, co-created by a Black man, your mom is a co-founder of it. It's a family business that is absolutely blowing up right now. Real quick, I want to touch on the educational
I love
piece
it.
because you all do like summer camps and
exactly.
things like that. And
Yes.
so I want people to know about that
For sure.
so that they can come bring their kids to get educated.
Yes.
And even possibly the parents to come get a little bit more educated on the
Yes.
gaming.
I think right now, parents, a gamer already knows the industry. They're in it. They're watching YouTube. They just know what's going on. But the parents actively need to know what's going on just as much. The security, some of the actual, the elements of toxicity. They need to know how to provide a remedy to that element, or else it's going to be like a wild, wild west for the individuals. And that's what stops a mother from allowing their child or a father allowing their child to actually game, because they just don't know about it. So their education is what we really need in this environment to teach individuals how to safely game. And so from our perspective, we just identify that, leveraging our technological platform that I mentioned at the very beginning to create content around safe gaming, healthy gaming, is very critical. So we do boot camps. Typically right now, if you go on to esposure.gg/summer, you
Say
can—
that slower. Esposure.
Yeah. Esposure, www.esposure.gg/summer.
Okay.
It will showcase all of our summer camps that we have coming up in June and July.
Okay.
And this gives a great opportunity to allow the actual young individuals to simulate running their own esports organization. So essentially what we do is we allow the students to actually pair up into groups of 5, and they assume the roles of a general manager, a head coach, a marketing specialist, a production technician, and a software developer.
So you're teaching them the business.
Teaching them the business, because that's exactly what's happening already. For any young individuals who are looking for a teammate in Fortnite or NBA 2K, they're going on Twitter and they're saying, hey, I'm looking for a medic, or I'm looking for a sharpshooter creator. And they're building their teams in a digital format. So they're already are starting the elements of building their teams. And when you think of like esports organizations that you can research, like 100 Thieves, it's ultimately like around like a $700 million organization at this point. And it started from Nadeshot, who was a gamer who said, okay, I'm gaming, but I actually want to start my own gaming team now. Now he has one of the most valued esports organizations. Young individuals can do that today, right? And so I think when it comes down to our practices is allowing the students to simulate running their own esports organizations, so therefore they can develop their portfolio, so they can go to those companies and say, hey, I was a software developer and here's what I did during this boot camp at Esposure, and our name in the industry carries weight enough for them to say, okay, I can give you an internship or a part-time job or a full-time job. That's actively, for our perspective, is giving those students the skill sets, so therefore they can feel confident enough to go into those boardrooms or those meetings. Yeah. How many times do we graduate from, how many stories do you hear from individuals graduating college and they say, well, I did this, I spent all this money on this degree and I went to the job and the job said I don't have enough experience.
That part. And
right?
you're like, well, how do I get the experience?
Well, how do I get the experience?
Yeah, exactly.
When I thought about, when I'm in college, I got my experience by actively doing, and that's how I got the job. It's like, oh, you did it in college. You created your own business. And I think we have to be able to provide those experiential opportunities to students while they're in school right now. So therefore they can actively go get a job. And that's where we're missing. We're just teaching, but we're not allowing the actual students to apply. So therefore they can build their portfolios.
I'm going to go back to what he said earlier. I mean, Danny said that some of these gamers are making $11,000. What was it? What was
around
it?
Anywhere from $8,000 to $20,000 per month in gaming.
Per month.
Yep.
Well, I'm about to learn NBA 2K. I don't know how this is going to work out for me.
Yeah.
But there are millions and millions of dollars to be made.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In gaming.
Yes.
Danny, I just can't give you any more compliments. Thanks for the support. Make sure you subscribe to the Dash Podcast YouTube channel. Also, we're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. And feel free to share with some family and friends. Thanks, guys.